Hi. Let's call the meeting to order. Very good evening, gentlemen and ladies. There being no members of the public present in here, we do have people, maybe have people watching us on YouTube or following us later. There being no members of the public, we will forego the normal announcements. Other than mobile phones, please make sure they're turned off. We will get straight into the agenda. We will run as the order with an adjustment in part 2 when we go from, we'll take number 13 last. That reason will come clear. Okay. If we go to agenda item 1, please. Apologies for absence.
Apologies received from Councillor Ahmed Wallana with Councillor Peter Davies substituting, Councillor Brian Stead and Councillor John Moores with Councillor John Oswald substituting. Councillor Duncan Flynn substituting for Councillor Brian Stead.
Thank you very much. Very welcome, gentlemen. Good evening to you. Spot on. Oh, declarations of interest. Any declarations this evening? No. I declare number 13. I reported that, so I will leave the room, hence why it's going to be taken last. Sorry? No. Okay, sign and receive the minutes of the meeting of the 19th of September. Are they okay? Thank you very much. No matters notified in advance, and there is business in part 2 for people who may be following us on YouTube. Part 1 is the discussion of the planning applications that's held in public. Part 2 are private matters of enforcement, and we will be breaking the video link when we move to part 2. Okay, so let's get straight into agenda item 6, number 27 Yelling Lane, please.
Chairman, this application relates to 27 Yedding Lane, which is a bungalow, and it's application for works to the roof involving an additional rear dormer and a roof light. The roof is already converted into habitable accommodation, or part of the roof is already converted into habitable accommodation, and this is to increase the size of that. If I can go directly to the plans, it will be self-explanatory. The site is not in any protected area, not in a conservation area or area special local character. This is the existing plans and the existing elevations. You'll see from that the original hip end on one side has been converted to a gable, and there is a large rear dormer. The other extensions, the single-storey extensions to the side and rear, are all authorised and have been approved by various applications. The roof works were done under permitted development. This application relates to the hip to gable to the other side and the smaller dormer that you can see on that plan. The hip to gable, in your officer's view, gives a better appearance to the dwelling than half a hip and half a gable. And the dormer complies with the requirements in terms of the setting from the boundaries. So the application is recommended for approval. If I can just show the photographs of the existing property. There has been enforcement action on this property. The unauthorised porch that you see there has been removed. And as you can see, don't know what happened there. Sorry. And this is the rear of the property, and the hip to gable to the right of the building there, and the smaller dormer is where this application is for. And these relate to the front. As you can see, the porch, which was the subject to the enforcement, has been removed, and all of the works are now authorised on the site. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, open this one up for discussion. Any issues at all? Councillor Yarrow?
Thank you, Chairman. No, I've got no problems with this one at all now, and I suggest we accept the officer's recommendations.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kashif?
Second that, Chair.
Thank you very much.
No problem with it at all.
Show of hands, please, on that one. Unanimous, thank you. Move on. 48 White Hart Avenue, agenda item 7.
Thank you, Chairman. This application, 48 White Hart Avenue, two-storey side extension, part single, part two-storey rear extension. As you will see from the history, there has been previous application or previous attempts for applications to this site, but they were not acceptable in terms of their design. This is an unusually designed property. If I can go to the plans, in that the roof is not your conventional pitched roof. It's kind of a mono-pitch roof with a projection, if you like, to the side, and therefore it's very difficult to design an extension to complement that roof. So what I have done is continue that roof profile down, and in your officer's view that is acceptable, and the rear extension is now designed so that it's not going to be seen from the streets, and it is in compliance with the 45 degrees and so on. So your officers now consider this extension to be acceptable. As you can see, the roof design is very unusual. It is, and it's just following that roof down. So the design is now acceptable, and we're recommending approval. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, again, open this one for discussion. Are there any issues? Councillor Oswald?
Thank you very much, Chairman. No, I don't have any issues with this. It seems to fit with what's already there. So I'll move the officer's recommendations.
Thank you very much. Just seconded. Councillor Yarrow, second. Show of hands, please, on that one. Unanimous again. Thank you very much. Agenda item 8, 103 Hurstfield Crescent, Hayes.
Thank you, Chairman. This is an application for a front porch. It is a fairly large porch, and normal circumstances would probably dictate that we wouldn't accept it. However, if I can go to the photographs, you'll see that so that's the existing and the proposed. It does project out quite a bit, and so that's the property itself. The reason why we are recommending approval is that in essence the is part of the character of the road. This is just 3. There are other examples along this road, so and this is a repeat of or this application is a repeat of what these porches are on the other side of the road. The application property is actually the one with the white van in front, so we think that we'd probably lose an appeal on the character of the road and the street scene in this porch, so we're recommending approval on that basis. Thank you, Chairman. There is there is an amendment to the plan numbers on condition 2 to include PLO 5 as part of the requirements. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Councillor Oswald.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Yarrow, then Councillor Flynn, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm just a little puzzled by the definition of a porch, because this actually is a downstairs toilet. How do we get over that one? A porch is a place which is usually empty and has your old Wellington boots and an odd umbrella in it. This, in fact, is a downstairs toilet and not a porch. And how does that affect us for the future? If we could have a few more words from the officers on that.
I don't think there's a sort of legal definition, if you like, of what should be contained in a porch. We've called it a porch. We could call it a front extension, and therefore I don't think it would affect us making a decision on any future applications if it contains a WC or whatever it contains. So the internal layout, as long as the external size and design is acceptable, then internally there's no definition which says a porch can't contain a WC.
Councillor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no issues with this in principle. I'm just obviously looking at that image, and I can see that all the various porches on the other side of the road look like they're made out of the same materials and very similar in appearance. I just wanted to check with officers, have we conditioned that this porch has the same materials, and also is it going to be the same dimensions as the other porches?
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's slight variations in the dimensions, but it's you're talking millimetres, 100 millimetres or so, which you wouldn't notice as you walk along the street. In terms of the materials, we have conditioned number 3, which says that they've got to match the materials of the existing building, which is in this case a render. So that's what the condition is requiring them to do. So we're not requiring them to match the materials of the other porches, and they're showing that if we go to the plans, that the porch would match the materials of the existing building, so it would be rendered.
Okay, I don't wish to be pedantic here, but this is a relatively narrow road. In street scene, the porches opposite do not appear to be anywhere near the size of the one being sought. We're beginning to step forward another 1.5 metres, according to the plans, I believe. That for me is an issue that I think needs to be considered by the committee, whether or not, or can officers comment on the size of the porches opposite. They look about a metre at most from that photograph, but I could be wrong in guessing.
I mean, it is partly the angle that you've got of this street view, and it does narrow it down. They are over a metre in size, and I think that I did measure one or two of them, and they're 1.3, I think. So there's, as I said to Councillor Flynn, I think that there is a slight difference, 100, 200 millimetres.
Thank you very much. That's helpful to me. Councillor Oswald.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. Yeah, similarly, I thought that the inside space for a porch was 3 square metres. Maggie, is that right? Is it?
Again, that's permitted development, so you could do that under
Okay.
permitted development. It's the external measurement, 3 square metres, but you could do that under permitted development. If you're over that, you could apply for planning permission.
Thank you very much. Any other issues here?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councillor
I'll
Oswald.
move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you very much. Councillor Flynn.
Happy to second it.
Thank you very much. Show of hands, please, on that one. That's approved unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 9.
Thanks,
One Alpha
Chairman.
Road.
1 Alpha Road. This is an application for the demolition of the existing bungalow and various buildings on the site, and the erection of a 2-storey building for 4 flats. If I could ask members to look at page 40, members will see that there was previous application on this site for a very similar development. It was refused for 3 reasons. The first being the impact on the flat at 32 Pole Hill Road, and the second and third reasons relating to parking and the width of the crossover. This particular application, the issues relating to parking and the width of the crossover has been overcome. So the issues now relate to the impact on the flat at 32 Pole Hill Road. And in this particular case, your officers consider that that issue is still relevant and hasn't been overcome. The normal requirement for a habitable room window to a blank wall distance is 15 metres, and the proposed building, as you can see there, is some 6.8 metres away from the habitable room window in 32, so it's about half or just under half the distance that's required. So your officers still consider that the issue relating to the impact on this particular building in terms of over-dominance and loss of outlook are still relevant. The refusal reason does talk about the impact in terms of daylight and sunlight. The applicants have submitted a daylight and sunlight report which shows that it complies with the BRE requirements, and therefore we're amending the reason for refusal in the addendum sheet to take out the issues relating to daylight, sunlight, and any policies that relate to that. So the reasons relate to visual intrusion, over-dominance, loss of outlook, and the policies that relate to that. If I can just again go through the plans, that's the proposed layout and the existing building. You'll see the distance from the window there, the dining room, living room that's being shown on that plan on 32 Pole Hill Road with the windows to the rear. And these are the proposed floor plans and roof plan, and the increase in height of the building. As you can see, the dotted line is the existing building, and the height increase that you can see in the roof increase is the proposed building. And again, that shows, that section does show the distance that you've got between the hotel room windows and the proposed building. That's the 32 Pole Hill Road, and that's the distance that you've got between the two buildings. Just on the corner of the photograph you can see the existing building at Alpha Road number 1, and that's it there. So that is the application site, and it's proposed to demolish and increase the size of the building to provide 4 flats. These are just photos looking around the site. So for the reasons set out in the report in terms of the impact on the adjoining occupier, it is recommended for refusal. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Pretty fundamental reason here for refusal. Councillor Yarrow.
Thank you, Chairman. I move we accept the officer's recommendation to refuse.
Thank you very much. Seconded, please. Councillor Kashid. Show of hands, please, on that one. That one is refused. Thank you. Agenda item 10. Number 3, Northfield Parade.
Thank you, Chairman. This is an application for a change of use from a retail to a hot food takeaway. Northfield Parade is not in a protected parade, so it's not in a primary shopping area or a secondary shopping area or in a local centre. So in principle, change of use is acceptable, subject to the parade retaining sufficient service or sufficient retail uses to service a local the local residents. In this particular case, the parade consists of 9 units, and there would still be 6 would remain in retail use, and there's also a large Asda very close to the site. So your officers consider that this is acceptable to lose this retail use. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
I can just quickly go through the plans and photographs. There's no external changes being proposed. We have got an informative just saying that any advertisements will require permission. That's it there. It's the Barfia unit. That's the application site. And these are the surrounding uses. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, any issues with this one, Phil? Councillor Oswald.
Thank you very much, Chairman. No, I'll move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you very much. Somebody second this one, please. Councillor Chapman. Thank you. Show of hands, please, on that one. So everybody, thank you. We'll break the link, go into part 2.